Well, here we are down on the farm, or to be precise, in my garden. And that's a pretty logical place to have these 3 4-wheel drive vehicles, 3 off-roaders from 3 different parts of the world. We've got the SsangYong Korando from Korea, we've got the Daihatsu Terios from Japan, and we've got the good old-fashioned, well, perhaps not old-fashioned, but you know what I mean, the good old-fashioned Jeep Grand Cherokee 5.9. This one's built actually in Austria, although you might think of it as an American car. Completely different engines. Got a 1.3 litre in the little Terios here, 2.3 litres in the Korando, and a whopping 5.9 litre V8. I tell you, that engine is actually quite hot. I can feel the heat coming through that bonnet there. Different price ranges as well. Huge price difference between these cars, as you might expect, I suppose. Talking about 18 grand-ish for the Korando, 12.5 grand for the Terios. Interesting price for this little car. This is the surprise so far in appearance terms. And if you haven't got £40,000 in your bin, don't even think about the Grand Cherokee. Now, enough talking. Let's see how they drive. Well, this is an interesting one, the SsangYong Korando. SsangYong means double dragon in Korea, and Korando is an abbreviation of Korea Can Do. Can you believe that? What a terrible name for a car. But anyway, it's actually, I think, a very nice car to look at from the outside. It was designed by Professor Ken Greenlee from the Royal College of Art, probably one of Britain's most respected car designers. He's also a tutor, but what he did was went out to Seoul on a sort of day-to-day basis really, and designed this car for the Koreans because they recognise talent when they see it. And it's a shame that a bloke like that can't get a job in Britain. Anyway, that's another story. This thing has got a 2.3 litre engine, develops about 140 brake horsepower, they say. Can't believe it myself, it doesn't feel like a 140 horsepower engine to me. 103 miles an hour, 0 to 60 in 14.5 seconds. An asking price of about $17,950 for this 2.3 litre petrol version, which does the order of 28 mpg. Looks great, like I said, not too sure about the build quality. Koreans have yet to prove themselves in that department, and I don't like this interior. Just listen to that, would you? That is 5.9 litres of V8 Detroit engine pumping away under the bonnet of this Grand Cherokee. Sorry for that, less than smooth manoeuvre. This Grand Cherokee LX, the 5.9 litre version, which has just gone on sale, or about to go on sale, the most powerful off-roader in the world, probably, production off-roader anyway. And it makes anything that Range Rover or anybody else produce up in Birmingham look pretty silly, actually. This is an awesome piece of kit. 237 brake horsepower, 125 miles an hour, 0 to 60 in 7.5 seconds. Cost you about, if you haven't got 40,000 quid in your bin, don't even think about it. And don't, whatever you do, don't think about what this thing will do to the gallon, because it doesn't, well, I asked somebody, you know, what it does to the gallon, and the reply was, it drinks. It drinks something of the order of 12 mpg. Just think about that. You won't get much more than 12 miles to the gallon out of this car. But really, it's the ultimate. I mean, you know, you get what you pay for, and you pay a lot for this car, and you get probably the best off-roader in the world. Only comes in left-hand drive, unfortunately. But if I had 40 grand, it would be on my shopping list. Well, if you're wondering what that funny little noise, and it is a funny little noise, if you're wondering what it is, it's the reverse gear on this little Daihatsu Terios, which is a funny little car. And it's a funny little company, and they're funny little people at that company, believe me. I've been out to Osaka in Japan, where they make the little Daihatsu Terios, and they are a funny old lot. It's a weird old place. Most car manufacturers are in or around Tokyo. Osaka break the mold, and they're out in the sticks in Osaka, and well, they're weird. But I tell you, they might be weird, but they've come up with a great little car here. This is a 1.3 litre 16 valve engine in this Terios, 82 brake horsepower. That's powerful enough for a car like this. 91 miles per hour top speed. We've got the 0 to 60 time of around 16 seconds, and this is the good bit, I think you'll agree. £12,200 for this car, and it'll do something like 38.7 mpg. And this is the other great thing, unlike the other two cars that we've been driving today, this one has got permanent four-wheel drive. No pressing buttons, no pulling handles. It decides when there's ice on the road or snow on the road and four-wheel drive needs to come into play, and it does it all for you. And I tell you another thing that's quite incredible, considering it's so small, it's got more legroom, this car, than that SsangYong Korando, and that's saying something, and it's less of a roly-poly ride as well. Well, here we are back on the farm. We've had a pretty amazing day driving around this place and on the surrounding roads, and it's given us a good chance to evaluate all three of these off-roaders. I mean, it's stupid to compare them and try and pick a winner and a loser out of these three, because they're in an entirely different league, all three of them, entirely different prices. So let's start with the most expensive first, the 5.9 litre V8. Remember, this is a car that has to be governed because it wants to go quicker than 125 miles an hour, and those very responsible people of Chrysler are saying, let's limit that top speed of this car and make it a little bit slower. But 125 miles an hour, quick enough for me, I can tell you. And it's got to be the best four-wheel drive vehicle in the world. What you're looking at here is the ultimate 4x4. You know, if we're talking about production vehicles available in Britain, this is better than the top of the line Range Rover, better than the top of the line anything else that's on the market. Can't go wrong with this car. And you know, an awful lot of car for quite a lot of money, it has to be said. This one, at the other end of the scale, the little Daihatsu Terios, when I first saw it, well, I wasn't too sure. It looks a bit like a hairdresser's car to me, if you know what I mean. And no, the more I drive it and the more I look at it, the more it appeals to me. Great little city car, great second family car, nice little 4x4 facility. It's got this interesting little feature. Beneath the luggage area there's a footwell where you can chuck in your dirty old wellies or wetsuits or whatever wet things you want to chuck under the floor of your luggage compartment. The other great little thing about this car is that it's got permanent four-wheel drive. None of this nonsense of pulling levers, as you have to with the Jeep, to put the thing into four-wheel drive, or pressing buttons or anything like that. This one decides for you when you need the four-wheel drive and when it should come into play. So, ironically, the cheapest of the lot, in many respects, has the most sophisticated four-wheel drive system. Although, don't get confused, this is not a mud plugger. This is not a serious off-roader. This is a sport utility vehicle, let's call it that, which means that it's for pretty light off-road work, unlike the Grand Cherokee, of course. This one confuses me slightly, the SsangYong Korando. I don't know, I like the job that Ken Greenlee, my old mate Professor Ken Greenlee as he is now, sorry sir, I love the styling job he's done on this, but some lovely little touches. Look at this rear wheel and the lights and the wings and everything. Some very nice touches indeed. Don't like the driving of this car. I don't like the roly-poly effect that they allege does not exist, but when you're out driving it, let me tell you, it throws you around a little bit. What I don't like is the tacky interior of this car, and worst of all, and I hope I never see it again, that dashboard. It's got this horrible wooden dashboard that looks like my grandma's old mahogany wardrobe being chopped up and installed in a SsangYong. Yuck.